the wild winds call. Jasper's walking, taking pictures of it all. Boots on the ground, heart in the sky, following the blazes, just a rambling guy. Through the valleys, over the hills, chasing that freedom, feeling the thrill. With every sunrise, he's finding his way, living the dream, one step a day. Trail named Jasper, walking on through. Bruce trail bound with a camera view. Hiking the ridges, chasing the light. Like and subscribe.
Good morning, everybody. Jasper here. Let's just have a look and see where we are. We are at the Greersville Memorial Forest Side Trail. We're parked right there with my trusty little camper van. And, well, today, oh yeah, today's a big day. Today's a very big day. Today is announcement day. Yep. By the way, a nice little bench here and beautiful little tent spots right in there. You got several tents right there, look. Absolutely perfect. Oh, wow. Anyhow, yeah, it's announcement day. It's going to tell us what our next relatively major through hike. I'm not going to call it, I mean, it depends where you are in the world, to be honest with you. Like, for instance, when I go to the UK, they'll say, you know, a 50-mile or a 100-mile trail is a long-distance trail. Well, when you've hiked North American trails, Appalachian Trail, for instance, you consider a 100-mile hike as like a short hike. You're almost done. And then, of course, there's days like today. Today's a day hike. Today's a training hike. Today's the first of our training days in preparation for our next through hike. So I'm going to call the trail we're doing next a medium distance trail. Some would call it a long distance trail. Some may call it a short distance trail. We're going to call it a medium distance trail. Okay, so anyhow, today is, I believe it's Sunday, the 12th of July. Gorgeous day. Gentle breeze. You can maybe see that just from those trees. But in the forest area here, we're well sheltered. So we don't actually feel that breeze. It's about 21 degrees Celsius, and it's around 7:30 in the morning. And as I say, beautiful day, no precipitation today whatsoever, although the feet are getting wet simply from the morning dew in the grass along the side trail. The hike today. Well, as I mentioned, it's the first of our training hikes. So, I've been asked about this before, and I'm going to explain it to you a little more today on how I do prepare for a particular through hike. And generally speaking, I used to at one time prepare for a particular trail, a style of trail. I don't actually do that anymore. I just prepare for a trail pretty much the same way, regardless of the actual trail now. But again, I did used to prepare for the specific conditions of a specific trail. Yeah, big words there. So today, it's a 23-kilometer hike. We're starting at the Memorial Forest. We're heading down to, I call it the Webwood Falls, which it is called the Webwood Falls, but we're going past there, as we do. That's just kind of a little resting area. and a little scenic point of interest area as we go by. It's a 23-kilometer hike, so it's 11.5 kilometers out, 11.5 kilometers back to where we parked. We're carrying a full trail weight pack today, so we're pushing 40 pounds in the pack. Again, jugs of water primarily. Again, you can use kitty litter, which would be better, but doesn't matter. It's just weight, just to simulate trail weight. So it's a heavy pack. It's the first training day. Again, in preparation, since I came back from my around 625 kilometer through hikes in the United Kingdom, today being the 12th of July, and I got back to Canada on the 26th of June. So I've been back, I guess 2.5 weeks or so now. And I've been essentially resting. But I have been out on one hike, which I did pretty much the day after I got back, which was a day hike with a full trail pack. But since then, I go to the gym pretty much every day. And I've been doing an easier paced 10, 11, 12 kilometer kind of walk, which is along country lanes, and takes me from my summer home up to the Meaford military base and back. I've been doing that quite regular, which is nice. You're just wearing a pair of shorts, feel the sun on your skin, on your back, and it's a relaxive, passive way of essentially keeping the body moving between, if you will, preparing for through hikes. So this is kind of what I do, and I do that on just like I did yesterday and the day before. I woke up, go to the gym, and come back, get organized, get ready, go do my 10, 11, 12 kilometer walk, and then essentially just do little jobs and put her around and work on my gear, kind of stuff. Now we're starting to, well, as I say, day one, preparation day, training day for our next upcoming through hike. So now we start training back on trail. We're on the Bruce Trail. It's a good all-round training trail. It's a great trail. I love the Bruce. It's my home trail. And I mean, just look at this forest ahead of me. Just take a look at this. I mean, oh yeah, I've seen spectacular sights on the West Island Way and the Great Glen Way, the Colorado Trail, the Appalachian Trail, many trails. And there's rivals, pretty much anything I've ever seen. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous forest. And yet, we're only moments away from where we parked. It's beautiful. Okay, let's just lay down a few miles, shall we? So I've had a few questions come in. We'll talk about a couple of them right now. So one, a lady hiker just sent me a quick question. It just said, "Hey Jasper, what was my shoes on the last through hikes in the UK?" Well, the answer to that was Ultra trail runners. I'm not particularly a boot person. I am a trail runner person. Ultra is my brand of choice, and the model on the last particular hike, same as I'm wearing today actually, was Ultra Olympus. So that's me. That takes care of that particular question. Trail runners. The next question came in from a gentleman called Andrew. Now, Andrew asked, and this is a really good question. He says, essentially, how do you prepare for like a crown trail, like the Appalachian or something, PCT, whatever. How do you prepare for that? How do you get through that? How, you know, he said, I go out hiking for a day. I've been in Algonquin Park, he said, and it was a 4-day hike, or 5-day, I forget now. And, oh, bugs, lots of cobwebs. And he said, you know, after 5 days, he said, I was like done. He said, I couldn't continue. I was done. And he said, only part of it was physical. He says, the other part was in my mind. He said, I was just glad to, you know, get in a bed and take a shower and eat a burger and fries and so on. And I can totally relate to Andrew's kind of thoughts, feelings, concerns, and his kind of, you know, outcome of his 4 or 5 day hike in the Algonquin Park. So first of all, the Algonquin Park can be extremely challenging. It's remote. It's a bug-filled, challenging trail kind of environment. So I totally get 4 or 5 days in there. I want to go home. I want a burger and fries. I want a hot bath, and I want to go home. I get it. When you're hiking a trail of that particular distance, you have a goal in mind. And the goal is, you know, in 4 or 5 days, I'm going to be at the end of this trail. And I'll turn around and look back at the trail that I've covered. And, you know, I'll form whatever opinions I form. Well, my recent trails was, as you know, but we'll just kind of go over it, was the coast to coast, 200 miles or so. The West Coast Trail, the West Highland Trail, 100 miles, and the Great Glen Way, 80 miles. So each of those trails was short enough to think about the end when you start. What that means is, when I set first day on the Coast to Coast Trail, I knew if I'm successful on this particular hike in about 2 weeks, give or take, 12, 13, 14 days, I'll have reached the end. And that was my goal from the get-go. So when I hiked the Appalachian Trail, oh sure, the first day on trail and in my preparation for that trail, I was thinking, when I get to the end of this trail. But it's 6 months away. So your mind kind of breaks things down, if you will, or it did for me. I quickly forgot about the overall goal, and my mind would start thinking about the short-term goal. And I broke everything down into about an average of 15 miles a day, give or take. You know, around 24 kilometers a day, whatever it is, 25 kilometers a day. I broke that down in my mind. So when I left the Amacola State Park and I started on the approach trail, I knew in 40 miles I'm going to come to an outfitter's with food, resupply, possibly accommodation, which just happened to be all full at that time, tenting nearby, and so on. So that became my goal. That's where I'm heading to. I'm not thinking about 6 months up the trail. I'm thinking about the next 4 days. Very similar to Andrew's 4 or 5 days on the Algonquin Trail. And as I progressed, as each day went by, I started to see a pattern, which I kind of knew existed. A pattern of shelters, tenting areas, which you see every day, but also communities. Communities with hostels, with motels, with camp tent grounds for hikers. Some even let you camp for free, such as drive-in movies or rec centres. We've had those where you camp for free. So I started looking at the next kind of option, if you will. The next hop Once I'd done those 40 miles and I'd got to my first kind of port of call, I was looking that night on the maps and the app, and I thought, okay, in 60 miles I have this next port of call. It's a community. They have a hostel there. So they have shops, they have restaurants. So resupply, night in a bed, shower, charge my battery banks, and town food. That's in 60 miles. So when I get there, I will have completed around 100. Okay, so how am I going to plan this? Well, I planned it on my average, my base of 15 miles a day. So I looked at that hop taking 4 days. Hey, again, pretty much the same as Andrew's 4 or 5 days in the Algonquin Park. And I contacted the hostel and I booked a bunk for the 4th night, or at the end of the 4th day, let's say the 3rd night, I guess, or 4th night, the end of the 4th day. It was like $20. Paid them. I had now a destination with a goal in mind. I now had a 4-day hop, 60 miles, 100 kilometers, and so at 15 miles a day, that's 4 days, which will put me there at the end of the 4th day. Okay, that's fine. So what I would do is I would start the next day with 15 miles in mind. But if I could do a little bit more, let's say I could do 16 miles that day. Well, that would translate into, on my last day, having 14 miles to do to get to the hostel. And so that morning I set off and I actually did 17 miles. So I now had 13 miles to do on the 4th or last day. And this is the way I looked at it. Each day I would hike a minimum of 15 miles. If I could do 1 or 2 miles more, or 3 or 4 even, depending on terrain and so on, I would. Which means I'd have less miles to do on the final day. So to cut a long story short, once I got to the final day, I had not 15 miles to do as a final, I had 8. So I got up early, set my wake up for, I think, 4 a.m. 5 a.m. I was on trail with a goal of 8 miles to now my hostel, my nice bed, my shower, my town food, my resupply. And I was motivated by that, so my 8 miles went quickly. And if memory serves me correct, I did go past some trail magic, which just really made that day special. Sat there for 20-30 minutes and chit-chatted and had some good eats and appreciated greatly. And then I arrived, I think it was around the Bend Hostel, something like that. And we went into town and resupply and had town food and had my shower, shaved, charged all my battery banks. And then they said, you guys can slack pack tomorrow, which I did. So I stayed there for 2 nights, but I hiked the next day. They shuttled us up to a location, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 miles, whatever, up trail. And we hiked back, me and several other hikers, hiked back to the hostel and spent the night there again. Then the next day, they shuttle you up to where you started from the day before. So you're now that further ahead. And that was interesting. That was slack packing. And so that's the way I approached the Appalachian Trail, and I did that all the way up north. I would plan, and so did everybody else. When I say everybody else, Professor Trillium, we would say, look, in 75 miles, there's so-and-so town. Sweat on my face. Sun's hot now. It's 75 miles. It's basically 5 days at 15 miles a day. We're going to book our hostel now to assure us a space, because they fill up quite quickly. And we're going to hike a minimum of 15 miles a day. And on the 5th day, we hopefully have just a small amount of miles to do, which would give us a near or almost a full day in the community and a night. So it reduced the amounts of zeros we needed because we were getting everything done and having a long enough period to rest because we were arriving earlier in the day. I think on the second one, 75 miles, we had like 3 miles to do the final day. 8 a.m. we were at the trailhead getting picked up by the shuttle and taken to the hostel. Great. We had all day in town. We could do everything we wanted, do laundry, take our shower, shave, charge our battery packs, resupply, eat town food, sit around, tell stories. Something that kind of gives me pause for thought anyhow. If not concern, definitely pause for thought. On my last hikes in the UK last month, May and June, I was asked several times. It was like maybe 4 or 5 times by different people who I would chat with or camp with or stay at the hostels with or sit in a pub with around a table. How old I was. I said, how old are you? And I would say, well, I'll be 68 in August. And I would hear the number 68. And I would realize, oh, depends what you're doing in life. Depends who you are. Depends on where your mind is at that particular time. 68, heck, it's not old. Oh, hell no. Everything up to now was just a practice. Life starts today. Well, actually, that's quite true, by the way. The rest of your life starts today. There's no doubt about that. However, the fact that I was asked so many times, the most I've ever been asked on any given trail, about my age, gave me pause for thought. What do I look like to the eyes of the people around me? Do I look like an old man? Because I am. 68 is an old man. I don't care what anybody says. They can say, oh, you're just starting out. Oh, you're a young man. Oh, you got lots of years left. Whatever. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'll dance the funky chicken on my 90th birthday. Maybe I'll be a dust lying in a jar before I'm 70. I've no idea. I just do know that because of the amount of times I was asked over, say, a 1 month period, how old I was, did give me pause for thought. Gave me, I know I'm not what I used to be. Nowhere near as fast as I used to be on trail. Not that I was ever a fast hiker, I was not. I can't do the miles I used to do. Although, I can still lay down a good day. There's no doubt about that. Anyhow, just a little something that I think about. Yeah. Webwood Falls. What an absolutely beautiful location. Oh yeah. And even better, they have a beautiful seating area. Let me just go down these steps and I can show you the whole thing better. Beautiful shaded seating platform with benches. There's my park. Gonna take my break here. From here, It's about, give or take, somewhere around, I don't know, maybe 3.5, 4 kilometers to where I turn around and head back again. But we are going to be ending this video right here in this platform, but not before we talk about the announcement. So, oh, by the way, earlier I said it was Sunday, the 12th of July. Yeah, it wasn't. Nope. It is Sunday, the 13th of July. Just thought I'd clarify. Okay. August the 18th, I will travel from Meaford, Ontario, my summer home, to Cornwall, Ontario. And I will be taking Joanne to visit her family. Just like we did last year, if you remember, 2024, towards the end of summer. I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing. She wants to go back and visit her brother and family members, and she's going to stay there for a couple of weeks, which affords me the opportunity to once again do the Rideau Trail. So the next morning, the 19th of August, I will train to Kingston via rail, and I will start for the second time, the second through hike attempt of the Rideau Trail. 350 kilometers, Kingston to Ottawa. I did it last year. I did enjoy it. I know some people don't. It's a little rugged in places, a little unmarked, a little unprepared. It's quite a wildernessy kind of trail, and in all truthfulness, I did find it more challenging than I expected, but I am going to attempt it for a second time. So that is my up and coming next through hike. So eventually, stay tuned for the videos from that particular through hike. I hope you're enjoying the videos that we're uploading right now on the coast to coast. I think at this point we've uploaded, I think, to day 4 on the coast to coast trail, the walk across England, the crossing, as it's known. And in all truthfulness, I've already started to think in my mind, because even though it was extremely challenging, the weather was horrendously bad, I'm actually thinking of doing that trail again also. Although that wouldn't be this year. No, it wouldn't be this year. That would have to be a trail for next year if I was to do the coast to coast for a second time. Okay, I hope you are enjoying the videos that we're uploading about our UK expedition and again the coast to coast trail. I hope you got something out of the gear treatment that we looked at, the NICWAX program, how to care for your gear, your rain jacket, your pack, and primarily your tent. I hope you got something out of that video, because I enjoyed making that video, and I know how important it is to look after our gear. So yeah, this is day 1 of the training in preparation for our August start on the Rideau Trail. Okay guys, that's pretty much it. I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to carry on the next 3.5 to 4 kilometers, take my lunch there, turn around and punch back to where we started this morning. Thank you for joining me, and you know what? We're going to see you next time. Oh yeah. Have a great day.